Hello, I am Muse, and I am going to review Hako Spell's latest album, Zodiac. I really like listening to music, and music is something I'm really passionate about, and I just really wanted to share my thoughts on this album. Plus, depending on how well this video is received, I can review other songs and music by other VTubers as well. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. For those who don't know, Hako Spells is a VTuber from Hololive English, and she is part of the group Promise. Bae has released music before, but mainly in singles or EPs like Play Dice or Pandemonium. So Zodiac is Bae's first album, and the theme of this album is based on the Chinese zodiac signs, so it's totaling 13 songs, with the final song Ein representing the cosmic astrological sign. The things I'm going to discuss are in this order: sound quality, mood, song production, which includes some commentary on the melody, mood of the individual song, and lyrics, theme, and ending with final score. So with all that in mind, let's get into it. Overall, the sound quality was pretty good. For reference, I listened to this album through my television, some basic $20 earbuds, a pair of clipped computer speakers, and my DT990 Pro headphones. The mixing and balance of the entire album is top-notch. There was nothing too harsh, nor an imbalance like my right ear hearing more than my left. The bass didn't shatter my windows, and nothing that would cause me to stop listening was there. I could hear a lot of the details through all of my reference. The quality of instruments used in this album too were pretty top-notch. The guitars, violins, and Chinese classical instruments all sounded like they were recorded by a real musician, which, if they were, then they did a really good job on capturing those instruments too. I also listened to the entire album on both YouTube and Spotify. YouTube usually compresses the audio or lowers the bitrate or something. I'm not too familiar with how it works, but I listened to the album on Spotify to see if there was a noticeable difference. I think it sounded a little cleaner on Spotify, which this could just be placebo, but in all honesty, there's not that much of a difference. If you just want a decent streaming experience, I would suggest YouTube, and if you just want to have that higher quality bitrate, I'd recommend Spotify. Otherwise, I'd purchase the album so you don't have to worry about the streaming services altering the audio in some way or another. To wrap up, unless you are listening to this music through a call center, you're gonna have fun listening to it on just about anything. There is quite the mix of material on this album, ranging from feel-good pop like Ride to the emotional like 818, and even something to move your hips to. This album has good vibes to it, and it sticks with those feelings throughout. There are some moments in this album that are emotional, but not for too long, as the next song usually picks the mood back up from melancholy. Additionally, this album has this girl boss vibe to it. It is not in your face about it, but just living your best life, doing what you do best, and slowing things down and taking time when you need to. This album is fun, and I think it is in line with Bae's personality and character. Even though this album is much bigger than her EPs, it is every bit of Bae as you could expect. So if you're a fan of Bae's EPs, you'll definitely be a fan of Zodiac. Out of the 13 songs of this album, most of them have solid melodies, consistent song structure, and good lyrics. I'm not going to go over all the songs, but I will go over a few. So for starters, I think the weakest song of this album is Fight Song, especially compared to La Roja before it. La Roja has this mysterious vibe to it. Bae is singing about her dreams, something inside her is weighing her down. The chorus has this especially interesting line, "At times when I see red, I break promises I've kept." The Latin grooves add on to this feeling of allure, like she's being hypnotized by this thing urging her on. What is this feeling inside of her? What promises is she breaking to reach her goals? And what is weighing her down? Keep that idea in mind when we compare it to Fight Song. Fight Song has a solid idea of what it wants to be, but it sounds confused at the same time because of the way the verse juxtaposes the chorus. The lyrics are bold and to the point, but at the same time the music and instruments it occupies are moving and flowing. So the lyrics, rather than being a leaf moving with the flow of the river, they're like a rock bumping against the edges of the riverbank. In the same vein, I think the melody too has this awkwardness to it that it doesn't really flow well with the accompaniment of the instruments. For Fight Song, I think if they committed to one mood or vibe, the song would work better as a whole. Rather, the verse clashes with the chorus, or the melody of the verse kind of meandering from high to low all in the same stanza. It could be for effect because the lyrics do make it pretty clear that Bae won't fall in line, and every step of the way she's going to be looking for and taking that opportunity to break free of her bonds. Still, for how beautiful the accompaniment is, I would have liked to hear more poetic lyrics, especially since it is right after La Roja. The slow songs in this album bring out a side of Bae unlike her natural or usual self. You can hear Bae sing in a much warmer tone, and with it carries a feeling of calm and respite. Seeing this soft and sensitive side acts as a kind of relief on the listener. Personally, I don't interpret the aspect of chaos as this constant and erratic entity, but one that is unpredictable and unusual. These unusual bouts of emotion and melancholy add a connection to the listener and the music. 818, for example, has this visceral feel to it that evokes a kind of determination in the lyrics. The beginning lyrics, every start there's an end, and the end lyrics, every end there's a start, drives this idea forward. It doesn't matter what happened in the past, so long as there is a future to look forward to. Your regrets, mistakes, and failures end so long as you begin again. Ayin is probably the most unique song on this album, and not just because it represents the cosmic astrological sign. The lyrics are in what I assume just gibberish, but gibberish lyrics are sometimes also known as chaos language, a language that is very popular in the Nier series. I don't know what Bae was thinking when she was writing the lyrics for Ayin, but incorporating chaos language has to be one of the most creative things I've seen her do. It may also just be the language of the universe, since the sign this song represents is cosmic or abstract compared to the animals of the Zodiac at least. Regardless of what inspired her to write them, Bae giving her listeners this freedom in interpretation and lyrical meaning beyond the typical spoken language is an interesting leap and risk I was not expecting to hear, least of all in a first album. One nitpick I have is in the song Ride. One of the lines in Bae's verse came in a little too soon. In the line, "Can you feel the sunshine hitting just right? All day we play no regrets." It's completely obvious the verse was cut into two separate takes. Separating the takes and just picking the best one is pretty standard practice in music, but for something calm like Ride, it just sounds and feels a little too abrupt. Songs like Bite, Kamu Bite, and RRR showcase Bae's character and personality, in my opinion, better than the other songs in this album. That doesn't necessarily make them better songs than the rest, but I do think Bae is just more comfortable with this kind of music, and I think it shows in her performance of both. So overall, the quality of lyrics, melodies, and production in this album is on par with Bae's previous releases, and definitely worth your time to listen to. The theme for this album is the Chinese Zodiac. The Chinese Zodiac is represented by 12 animals: the rat, the ox, the tiger, the rabbit, the dragon, the snake, the horse, the goat, the monkey, the rooster, the dog, the pig, plus one extra, which is the astrological sign. For some background, the theme of the Chinese Zodiac is personal to Bae, according to her Brewin and Groovin podcast on Spotify. Additionally, she chose a theme because it is easy to rely on if you get stuck on what to do next, according to her interview with Billboard a couple months back. I think the choice of theme was fine, but the focus regarding the signs is where I think this album was lacking. I think Hide and Seek was pretty unique and creative. For context, Bae's inspiration for this song was to portray a banter between the rat and the rabbit on who is the better prey. Now compare the twist on that to Give Me More, where it's pretty obvious what this song is about and the animal that it represents. I think if Bae wanted to do a twist, she should have done so with all the animals, or stayed straightforward with what she wanted the animals to represent. I don't think being straightforward would have made the album worse either, because it would display her focus and ability to represent the signs. Likewise, being more free and adding a twist to the signs would have benefited her creatively, by keeping her fans on their toes in regards to her music. In the larger scheme of things, this album does align with the EPs Bae has already put out. The album consists of various genres, maybe even something for everyone in here. Bae also experiments and tries new things in this album, unlike her past EPs. But it would have been nice to see her either flex her creative muscles a little bit more, or really dial in on what these signs represent. I think this album is a good showcase of Bae's abilities, her character, and her creativity thus far in her music career. Much like her EPs, this album has a mix of songs which are calm with songs that are upbeat and energetic. I think Bae could have been a little more focused on what she wanted to do in regards with the theme and animals of this album. Some songs are pretty clear which album they are meant to represent, whereas some songs Bae kind of just wanted to be creative, do her own things, and do something unexpected. I know this might be meta because Bae is chaos, so releasing a kind of chaotic album is in character for her. However, I think it would have benefited from a kind of organized chaos, if you will. Finally, it seems like Bae is really leaning onto the music side of her idol activities, and for someone who basically has only really gotten into music the past 2 years, putting aside past life stuff if she ever did anything there, I'd say this first album is a pretty good start. However, keep in mind, Bae is still in her training arc as far as music goes. Admittedly, musicians are almost always learning new things, but Bae, on the other hand, sounds like she is still trying to find her sound and establish herself as a musician. She got her feet wet with Play Dice and Pandemonium, and now she is wading in the waters with Zodiac. As a result, I think after a few more originals, plus some EPs, or even another album, I think we will know for sure if Bae can swim in the sea of music. With all that in mind, I give this album a solid 8 out of 10. Congratulations, Bae, on your first album. Hello, Muse here. I just wanted to thank you for watching this video. To just tell you a little about myself, I am a classically trained pianist and performer. I like to produce music sometimes, and I even like to make song covers every now and then. I have been studying music for 10 years now, and over those 10 years, I've learned a lot about what goes into music and how to listen to it. So my reviews will border between surface level stuff like lyrics and the general mood of a song, but also dive a little deeper into things like thematic material, melodic content, and even song structure every now and again. I took some time to make this review because I think it was Jay-Z who said it first, you can't review an album in a day, it's just impossible. And I wholeheartedly believe that, so I wanted to take the time to listen to it, but also to really get into the nitty-gritty of Bae and her music career by reading her interviews, watching her streams, and listening to her podcast on Spotify to learn as much as I can. I wanted to be unbiased as possible when making this review, and so I had to take time to really digest her songs to see if I was truly listening to them objectively. I do want it to be known that this is merely my review of Zodiac. If you're unsure about it, I encourage you to listen to the album yourself. If you disagree with my thoughts, feel free to say so in the comments. Like or dislike the video and possibly turn on or disable the notification bell so that you know when I upload, either to avoid it or to listen to me talk about music. Please also leave a comment on music from other VTubers you would like to hear me talk about next. I do already have a couple other videos in mind I would like to make regarding music in the VTuber scene, so look forward to that. Anyways, that's it from me, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video.